Hey everyone, Kunik here, back with two D&D stories for you all today. In our first story, we cover a very particular type of that guy that isn't often discussed in these stories, but is worth bringing up. In the second story, we have let's just say a little bit of a player revolt. So with that all said, let's roll for initiative and begin the stories. Story number 1. That guy doth protest too much. A gaming red flag. This is something I've noticed over the years, and it crops up time and time again in groups I've been a part of. When that guy is an older gamer, they will almost always hold up their time in the hobby as a shield against any criticism of their behavior, or mistakes they've made, often to a nonsensical degree. To be clear, this isn't a situation like, sorry, got my additions confused. I'll try to remember this game is different than what I used to play. It's more like, hey, listen here, I've got dice in my box older than you are, so don't worry about why I'm doing what I'm doing over here. The first time a guy did this at a table, and it's almost always men in my experience, I just figured he was a jerk who couldn't handle questions or criticism. The most recent group I left had a guy who pulled this every other game, and usually before his own stupid mistake or miscalculation got his character knocked out or killed, ironically. And I figured it was time to codify this particular red flag. Anyone got a name for this, or do we need to make one? And I'll pose that question to everyone in the chat. What type of player should we call this? Considering the age of these players, they're probably boomers, so maybe, just maybe, they're boomers. But because that's taken elsewhere, we have to use a little bit of a modification to this. And so my suggestion into this space is to call them old boomers, because they've been playing these games forever, and usually you only want a 2 or 3 word description for the kind of player they are. Can't get too wordy on this. But that's just my suggestion. Again, post your own ideas in the comments below. Very interested to read what everyone has. Alright, onwards to story number 2. Town of Douchebags leads to a total player revolt. Cue the scene. A small group, I think 4, of level 1 adventurers in a small merchant town. None of the characters matter a lot, although it should be added that 2 of them, me and the rogue, the adventurer, played in their hometown. Mine was part of a local merchant guild, trying to prove themselves to gain higher ranks and shares in the company, and the rogue was some sort of detective. We all meet on Discord, hoping for a fun first session. No one knows the others very well, but the campaign is supposedly roleplay heavy, so we are hyped for that. DM is running a bit late. Us players write in chat what we hope to achieve as small side goals. I own a tavern, become a gladiator, etc. Between plot hooks. DM arrives, session begins, and we quickly notice a pattern that will remain with us for the entire campaign. Every NPC is a douchebag. They treat us all like scum or lowly interns. Give us no helpful advice, even if it would be beneficial to them. I didn't mind that my character's guild treated us badly at the start. That fitted their story quite well. But even after we saved their missing caravan, prevented the local crime ring from burning down their warehouse and saving the guild leader from assassination, one would assume that they would like to have us around, showing some gratitude or at least giving us thanks. Still hate us, dirty foreign sellswords, despite half of the group being locals, and even refused payment at one point because, "You are adventurers, that is what you do." Rest weren't better. City Guard never let us out of sight and refused even giving us directions towards the nearest doctor after getting stabbed by an assassin. Priest hated our guts because we were heathens. One of the others had the acolyte background of the same religion, but apparently, unless you are a cleric or a paladin, you had no business with the church. All the fun stuff. We voiced our concerns about this multiple times, telling the DM that all those condescending and unhelpful quest givers and NPCs made the game much less fun. DM says okay, and nothing changes the next session. And one day, we just snapped as a group. It was just after the fire, and the guild's lack of payment for our services. Being treated like dirt is bad enough, but we don't work for free, especially in those conditions. After taking a bounty mission for some smugglers, we capture the captain, order the crew around, and announce that, with my character's guild insignia, the smuggler ships, and our rogue's criminal mind, We will rob the guild at night, set the watch house on fire as a distraction, and sail away as pirates to never return to the life we once lived. We didn't even play that. Our DM just threw a fit, accusing us as ungrateful murder hobos. I take offense on the ungrateful part in this case, and how we are ruining his role-playing. Group disbanded that very same session, and that is, just this once, how I got tempted to the dark side of adventuring. Yeah, I kind of side with the players here. If you tell the DM that you're not having fun with how things are being done, and every player agrees with you, and the DM acknowledges your concerns, yet does nothing, eventually, the entire campaign is going to go up in smoke and something exactly like this will happen, although maybe not quite as epic in how it sounded. Now yes, they were definitely murder hobos with what they did, but think about it from a role-playing perspective. If you saved everyone in the town multiple times over and they still treated you less than the dirt that they walk on, psychologically it's going to get to your characters, and naturally in a role-playing session, they would snap. So I think that this was entirely justified within the story, at least from what we were told. Anyhow, that's all for the stories today. If you liked them and you want to see more videos just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon to be notified of my future videos. As always, the source to the videos are in the description below, and while you wait for my future videos, here are a few related videos from my channel that you can watch in the meantime.